Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 33 of FTB Interactions. As we start off today, I'm just now getting around to reading your comments about this Starlight system that I made almost a week ago at this point. But yeah, I think it's really awful because it uses 50 plus light wells and it doesn't even produce enough starlight. So some of the tips you've given me are that apparently moving these to a higher Y level helps. So I'll move these up to Y level 120. We've already seen how nighttime increases their output, so I'll move this to somewhere where it's perpetual night. We'll figure out how to do that later. And apparently different materials give starlight at different rates. I thought they didn't. So instead of burning all these eggs, while the eggs have the advantage of being essentially free, they produce starlight very slowly individually. What produces starlight very quickly, however, is the primordial pearl. It's about, at least by the numbers in the configs, it's like 11 times faster than eggs. However, the question is, how do you make a bunch of primordial pearls? There is this recipe. At this point, I think all I have to do this recipe is upgrade our primordial, or upgrade our infusion, our blood altar to tier 5, and then we can make them. However, there's another thing you can do with primordial pearls, and that is make them in the sky cauldron. And the thing about primordial pearls is that when you use one, whether it's a full durability one or otherwise, it doesn't actually, it consumes one durability off the pearl. And that applies here to the sky cauldron as well. I tested it a few times, but if you take a pearl and run it through the sky cauldron, what you get is it takes one durability off the one you put in and gives you a full durability one on the output. Then all you need is to, let's take one of these light wells. Hold on, how about I'll stop extracting from here really quick. And I heard one break. There's one. What I can do is I can put the primordial pearl into here. And it melts it for starlight. The primordial pearl melts so it both creates significantly more starlight per tick and lasts for much, much longer than an egg. From what I've gathered from the configs, it'll last somewhere about a year is the expected value. And I don't foresee myself playing the pack in a year when I have to start replacing these. So all I have to do is make a handful of primordial pearls. I shouldn't have put this one here. Now that I put it here, I can't get it back. It's a one-way operation. Oh well. There's another thing that's a little annoying, and that is that the recipe for using primordial pearls in the sky cauldron doesn't have one, like it stops at 3 and it starts at 7, which means you can't use a 8 durability pearl, and I can't use the 2 durability pearl that I have here. So I guess you have to use the pearl for something else first, and then you can craft with it. I guess I can make a angel ring. Angel ring seems at least slightly useful. To demonstrate what I mean with this primordial pearl durability, I'll put a full durability one here for the crafting, and let's start it. Or not. What am I missing? Oh, that's a ring, not an amulet. Derp. Let's try that again. So this time with an actual ring. I'm really bad at this game, apparently. I have something on here that shouldn't be. There we go. Now we're started. This infusion is not stable on average. I shouldn't time accelerate it then. I might get instability effects. You can see this, if basically your loss is more than double your gain, or your maximum loss is more than double your gain, you have a, on average, unstable reaction. Now, apparently, as it gets more unstable, the loss goes down, which causes it to fluctuate, and it reaches an equilibrium. And the equilibrium is apparently in a stable state. But I think anything short of very stable can cause some instability effects. Anyways, my point is, I think I'm feeling confident and will time accelerate this. Hurry up. My point is, while it consumes these items, it will not completely destroy my primordial pearl. And okay, this is bad. I've done a bad thing. I need feathers. But instead it'll only take 1 durability off of it. And that's actually a good thing because I need it to lose 1 durability so that I can actually use it in the Sky Cauldron. So, come on, finish crafting. When you're not providing Essentia to it, right, it gets even more unstable. And now we are at unstable. My stack of feathers not give enough. What's going on here? No, you're doing your thing. There we go. It's infusing. So you see the particles come off of that as usual, but the infusion's done and I still have a primordial pearl. It just has 7 durability instead of 8. Anyways, I don't actually need an angel ring for flight, but it's good to have. Who knows? Maybe at some point I'd stop using the glitched armor, at which point I will need an angel ring. Now that my primordial pearl's at 7 durability, it is eligible to be put in a Sky Cauldron. To me, this honestly feels like a bug, but I've been told from people on the interactions Discord that it is indeed not a bug, so I will trust them. I also need 3 high covalence dust per, which apparently I don't have the materials for. Let me make or at least encode the recipes for these. There's 2 ways to make mana diamonds. You can either throw flawless diamonds into a mana pool. For some reason flawless diamonds only stack to 32. Or you can throw regular diamonds into an assembler, but that uses unstable mana. And since I have infinite normal mana and less than infinite unstable mana, I figure I'll just do it this way. And that'll suck up a fair bit of mana, but you know what? That, like, our flowers will refill their mana pools in I don't know, a couple seconds. They're already basically full. I love these flowers. They're so good. They're even better. I used to always use the cake flower, but petrol petunias in this pack are absolutely bonkers. Let's try that again now. Give me 30 maybe? Sure. Actually, 30 only makes 10. Give me just do 100. Haha! Begin. So the trick is to put your pearl and the dust in the input. You'll see that the dust gets consumed and 1 durability gets taken off the pearl. And at the other end will come a full durability pearl. Like so. And then you're left with 1 full pearl and 1 pearl that you can leave in there and run it until it falls down to, I think it's 2 durability is the minimum. So basically you can use covalence dust, high covalence dust, to almost duplicate these. Basically 1 turns into like 4 or 5. I actually wonder, can you combine pearls together? When this pearl gets down to 2 durability, I'll see if I can repair it by combining it in an anvil with my other 2 durability pearl, or moat, I guess it's called when it gets sufficiently damaged. As for putting the light wells up at Y level 120 or higher, my space station is conveniently at Y level 120 or higher. So we'll put it here. I could also put it where I have the rest of my Astral Sorcery multi-block set up, but I don't have my AE system wired up to there yet, so I'll do it here. The other advantage of doing it on the space station is that I believe you can control time of day on your space station with an altitude controller. So, okay, maybe it's not an altitude controller. There is something you can do with advanced rocketry to set your time of day on your station and lock it. Let me figure out what it is. Let's try that again. The orientation controller. I don't understand how this thing's supposed to work. My gut says it's supposed to be the altitude controller because to actually put a satellite into a either geosynchronous or geostationary orbit, you control its altitude. But I don't know how it works in advanced rocketry. Alright, I'm going to try to consult its documentation. Sorry, earlier when I said geosynchronous, I meant to say sun synchronous. We want the relative position of the sun, that is our light source, maybe, to always be the same relative to the planet. Normally that's done by being in a polar orbit at a fixed altitude, but I guess all orbits in advanced rocketry are sun synchronous, so the sun is always in that position there, And all we have to do is turn the space station with these controls to put it, in front or behind us. So, yeah, this is actually what's awkward here is this controller controls angular velocity, but I don't actually care for angular velocity. I care about angular position, right? So I guess it's like driving a car, except it's like driving a space station. Anyways, I managed to get it such that the sun is always on the bottom side of the space station. Unfortunately, that means my entire space station is yellow because night vision gives this yellow hue. I actually don't know if this will make light wells better or not. So I might have just made my entire space station dark for no reason. I can, you know what, let's test it. I'll get a couple pearls, set up a couple light wells up here, and we'll see whether or not it's better one way or the other. I'm also not using this system anymore, so I can take the light from this crystal and shine it on our light wells, I guess. Really quick, let's see if we can repair these by combining them. I guess not. They don't like going into anvils. They just close the anvil UI. Alright then. I guess that's not how you repair them. Here's the experiment. I have 4 light wells feeding into a quantum tank that I can void the contents of into a trash can. I'll put a primordial pearl into each. And don't worry, I have a 5th pearl. So I can craft more pearls later if I need to. And anyway, these are producing, I guess, about 5 millibuckets per crafting operation. I'll once again time how much they produce per hour of in-game time, and I may as well even shine the Starlight on them. We already know that the Starlight helps, so may as well use it. Where's my linking tool? Here it is. So because I'm going, let's see, I want to unlink all links. Shift click, there we go. So I want to link you to these. Because I'm linking the crystal directly to 4 different sources, I don't need to use a lens. Well, maybe I do, because the rear 2 are blocked by the front 2. Well, shoot. It does seem to have a pretty substantial effect, actually. Right, they're going from 5 to 8 to 9. Let me go get the lens then. I'll set that up. Apparently you can free float the lens. Once you attach it to something, it doesn't need to stay attached to something. So link the crystal to the lens and the lens to each of these. The lens is it's a lens we used before. It's a perfect static lens. But I guess splitting the light more ways does cause it to have a smaller effect on each. Alright, whatever. So this is our Starlight being produced. Let's void it all. And then I'll take a 1 hour in-game measurement and see how much we get. And it's empty. I'll start now, 5:10, and we'll see how much we have at 6:10. And then I'll turn the station around such that we're facing the sun again and see if that makes a difference. The difference is very noticeable, at least between this and the overworld. So here, 6:10, 22 buckets, almost 23 buckets from 4 light wells. For reference, my 60-ish light wells in the overworld produced, I think it was like 12 buckets in the same amount of time with the same light shining on them. So these 4 light wells are almost twice as good as the combined effect of all of my overworld light wells. That makes gathering Starlight a lot easier. And now our station's rotating into position such that we will have sunlight shining on us again. And we'll see if this has any impact. So you just rotate, I guess it's the x-axis. We're now in the... I'll wait until the sun's overhead to turn it off. But yeah, we are now in the light. Good enough. Oh, no, maybe a little too far. Where'd the sun go? Oh, the sun's on the other side of the planet. Well, wait, this is what we want then, right? The sun being on the other side of the planet means... I don't know. I'll try this to see if it's any different, and then I'll put the sun directly overhead. Once again, starting at 8:10. Whoopsies, I forgot to hit record as we passed 9:10. But it was basically 21 buckets at 9:10, so it's close enough that I'd say that's within the margin of error of my measurement system. And the fact that there's still the actual time. I suspect, honestly, that the Starlight generated is based on the actual game time and not based on perceived time relative to the sun. Let me just put the station in a position such that we have actual sunlight shining on us. Oh, there he goes again. Alright. And I'll do the test one last time with the sun directly overhead. Is it empty? We'll start at, I guess, 10:30. How's that? And go. 11:30 starts creeping up on us, and we'll be right around the 21-22 bucket mark. So yeah, 21 buckets and change. Good enough. I think that tells me it's so hard to only break one block with this because it's such a fast tool. Anyways, this tells me that it doesn't matter the orientation of the space station, which is good. I'd rather have our space station be lit up than dark. Anyways, if I just put a fluid storage bus on this, I guess that gives us a lot more Starlight storage and production. There we go. And with that, I think we've done enough science for today. Let's get back to progression. At this point, I think we are ready to move on to IV machines. So IV uses tungsten steel. We have boatloads of that. However, IV machine hulls also need tungsten cable, and this is a bit trickier to make. We can't actually just coat tungsten wire with rubber. In order to do that, we also need tungsten foil, which is a little inefficient, right? Foils are 1/4 of an ingot each. So there's a couple other things you can use, I guess. Polyethylene sulfide. But the easiest way to coat these wires is just use a different fluid, and that is styrene butadiene rubber. So, or silicone rubber. Let me see actually between the two of these, which is more useful. I think there's certain assembly line recipes that only accept one or the other, if I recall. Yeah, there are assembly line recipes that only, like the high tier conveyor belts, they only accept styrene butadiene rubber. They don't take silicone rubber. And it looks like silicone rubber is only for assembler things. I'm not gonna scroll through all. Well, maybe I'll scroll through all 1,000. You can scroll pretty quick. And these all look like wire recipes. So yeah, I guess we'll make the styrene butadiene rubber. There's a couple ways to make styrene butadiene rubber. Well, there's like 30,000 ways to make it. You have to make the pulp, which is not an awful thing to replicate. However, many of the intermediates along the way to styrene butadiene rubber, I believe, are at least somewhat useful. So let's actually go through the proper process instead of just duplicating it or replicating it. So styrene and butadiene are the two things you need, and conveniently both come from steam cracked naphtha. When you crack naphtha, you get about 30 billion different resources, but specifically you get butadiene, benzene, and ethylene. And ethylene plus benzene is styrene. So you put these three together and you can make styrene butadiene rubber. The rest of this stuff, most of it, as far as I can tell, is not particularly useful. You can burn it or you can store it, or what I'm doing is I'll probably just throw it all out, with the exception of toluene. Toluene is used to make gel toluene, which is the easy way to make simple power catalysts, and because there's one hidden in there. It's also the way you make TNT. So toluene is very useful, and you don't get a lot of it as a byproduct here, but you do get some, and it's good to, it's good to have. It's better to have it than to not have it, I guess is my point. The other way to make, one other way to make styrene butadiene is to make all three of these resources independently without cracking, but that's about 30,000 more steps, so I'm not going to do that. And in fact, I've already set up a distillation tower to crack steam, or to steam crack naphtha. So first thing is you make steam in a fluid heater, then you combine the steam with naphtha to get steam cracked naphtha. If you remember, we make naphtha as a byproduct of our oil processing here, and before now I had just been throwing it out. So I used some of it to make these epoxy resin sheets, but the vast majority of it I was just throwing out. So instead of throwing it out, we may as well use it. Anyways, after cracking it, it goes into a very, very tall distillation tower. That's because naphtha has how many byproducts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus an item product. So that's 12 slices of the distillation tower, which might be a maximum height distillation tower. And then each of these output hatches I have paired up with a drum that contains the, thing that normally comes out of this output hatch. There's filters on every step, but trust me, there's filters on every step. To keep this process from getting backed up by the things that it produces too much of, I have a trash can here that's set to throw away everything except butadiene, because that's my bottleneck resource when I'm producing this rubber pulp. Coming out of there, I do the same thing I did with my fluid networks before, where I just put every single fluid on the brown channel, and then on the insert side, I use filters to say what goes into each chemical reactor. So into this first chemical reactor goes ethylene and benzene. That makes hydrogen gas, or hydrogen and styrene. I don't care for hydrogen, so I throw that out. Into here comes if I had any, would be styrene. And then into this one, we have styrene, butadiene, which both come, where do they come from? Here it is. The fluid filter, styrene plus butadiene, go into our chemical reactor. And then this needs either oxygen or air, but it has triple yield using oxygen. So I just supply oxygen with a fluid export bus from my ME system. I might need another acceleration card in this, actually. Or I might just need to produce oxygen faster. I don't know, one or the other. I might not be making that much. No, I guess it's just with one acceleration card, it's a little slow. All right, anyways, this will fill up with oxygen. We turn that into rubber pulp. The last step is to combine rubber pulp with sulfur to make the fluid rubber, and then that I just have on a storage bus, which I should partition to make sure I don't jam other fluids in here later on. Wait, that's... Oh, I've already jammed other fluids in here. Haha. Let's fix that. Hold on. To fix it, I just configure this for styrene butadiene rubber and put a new drum here. There we go. All right, so now you will only ever hold styrene butadiene rubber. And then I also send that over here to this assembly machine, which holds our patterns. In this case, it holds the tungsten wire or tungsten cable pattern. Sorry if that was a lot to take in at once. I recorded little segments while I was putting this whole system together, and then I realized at the end that my mic was muted for all of it. Whoopsies. So now you get the overview at the end. The final product then is that we can now make IV machine hulls because these take tungsten cable. Now that we have IV machine hulls, we can make, well, let's look at the quest here. The IV age processors are quantum assemblies. So let's see about making these. I think these are the high tier ones, are they not? Oh no. Quantum assemblies are made from quantum processors. All right, so let me grab one of these just to complete this quest. And our goal, though, is to make the crystal processor because this is a cheaper version. However, this will require a new circuit board and a crystal CPU and niobium titanium. Let's start with the circuit board. So this is probably the easiest step in the process. We have to take the circuit boards we already have and just add electrum and sulfuric acid. However, I think this is a good opportunity to just set up passive production of all our different circuit board types. So far, I've just been batch producing these by throwing whatever resources we need into chemical reactors. But at this point, I think it's high time we set up a system that will automatically produce all of these in the background. So I'll cover all the circuit boards we use at this moment. That's plastic, epoxy, fiber reinforced, and multi-layer fiber reinforced. The first three types of boards are simple. They're all effectively the same recipe except use a different sheet. So just 3 chemical reactors. They're all filtered on insert for different items, and they're all set to only sulfuric acid will be inserted. The items are provided via an ME interface, and the fluid is provided via fluid export bus. I guess this could just as well be a fluid interface. Anyways, I'm choosing to provide copper dust instead of copper sheets, because in order for me to provide copper sheets in an ME interface, I need a crafting card, and my goal, once again, is to avoid crafting cards because of their laggy nature. So first I have to cook the dust into ingots, then bend the ingots into plates, then go plates to sheets. I chose to just go with a single block electric furnace here. It's less efficient than the multi-smelter, but it also doesn't run very much, so the small size is preferable over the efficiency, at least in this instance. Alright, so that covers up to the green sheets. Now to make the brown ones. The brown sheets take some green sheets and electrum foil, so I need to make electrum. Likewise with the copper, I want to make it on site, so I'll probably provide gold and silver dusts, and then, alloy smelter, bender it as well. As I was saying, gold and silver come out of the interface, get turned into electrum, get turned into the electrum foils, and finally get turned into multi-layer fiber reinforced circuit boards. Because these use up green circuit boards, I'm only going to keep one stack of these in stock. Also because these are highest tier circuits, we'll probably use them in rather small quantity. Anyways, that means our crystal, or we're one step closer to the crystal processor. Next, let's see, we've already made the nano CPU. Let's do the wire, because I think that'll be slightly easier than the crystal CPU. So niobium titanium, huh? I do not have niobium. What does niobium dust come from? Byproduct of processing tantalite, eh? Alright. I came over to check on our ore processing, and I found that was pretty heavily backlogged on our centrifuges here. And I guess it's because I was processing uranium earlier, and this recipe takes a long time. But even under normal circumstances, I think with washers are backlog if we're washing the ores, but for almost all other circumstances, the backlog becomes, or the bottleneck becomes the molecular separator here. So why don't I just add a bunch more? I might need to add another couple generators, maybe. Well, these are not full amp machines, I don't know. But I might need to add a generator or two to power all of this. But fuel is plentiful. Somehow I also only had 19 tantalite ore pieces left. I think I processed it before for some reason, but whatever. 19 still turns into plenty of dusts, and I only need a little bit of the byproduct material anyways. So this should be fine. My life essence supply is always a little low nowadays because I'm using it both for the rituals and for ore processing, and I guess that's the only things I'm using it for. This is recipe Niobium 9. I can put one more mnemonic matrix on it, and beyond that I have to start forgetting recipes to learn new ones. Or make a second thaumatorium. Both are reasonable options. It takes 2 blast furnaces to passively make niobium titanium. First one is to take niobium dust and turn it into hot ingots. Right now I am still waiting for some more dust to process, but yeah, I don't have any left. But everything I have has been processed already. Anyways, there's this filter here. Because there's no other use for niobium dust, I just have this set to process all of our niobium dust. And then there's a second one that processes the niobium ingot and titanium ingot into a niobium titanium ingot, which apparently takes the better part of forever. So once this is done, I can set the... once one batch is done, I can set this filter, because this isn't a filter you can set from ghost items. Come on, AE2, get with the times. I swear in patch 1.7 you could set AE2 filters off ghost items. Couldn't you? Am I crazy? I don't even, it's been long enough that maybe I'm just misremembering. But anyways, once I can set this filter, we'll have fully passive production of niobium titanium. And that just leaves the crystal CPU. So this is in a precision laser engraver, emerald lens, or any green lens, and a crystal chip. And I believe this is made in a blast furnace, helium, exquisite emerald, and emerald plate. I might need to improve my helium production. How is this looking? There's a fair bit. It's stopped for some reason, presumably because it's out of endstone. The thing is, I don't have an infinite automated supply of endstone. Also, I guess if this fills up, I could just void whatever comes afterwards. Alright, well, let me look at other ways to get helium. The only other reasonable way is from a replicator, and I think this is actually alright because it only takes 2 millibuckets of each. I figured out how replicator recipes work. Helium is 2 protons and 2 neutrons, at least helium-4, right? And that's why it takes 2 positive matter and 2 neutral matter. I think the basically the more protons and neutrons there are in a thing that you're making, the more matter it takes to make it. Like this is, I don't know what you would call it, proton fluid, and this is neutron fluid, I guess. But yeah, let's set up a replicator to make helium. That way we don't have to worry about this thing running out of endstone, or us running out of endstone in general. I have plenty of positive and neutral matter. I've never used a Greg Tech replicator before, but I assume it's just you supply it with energy as well as the 2 types of matter, and it does not consume the input cell. I guess we'll find out in just a second. Unfortunately, fluid export buses don't have a round robin mode, so I do have to fill this machine all the way with matter. I guess there's probably other ways I could have taken to just fill it with like 1 bucket of matter, because 64 buckets of each matter is a pretty large buffer. Anyways, this process is pretty fast because it only uses 2 millibuckets of each. The operating time is directly proportional to the amount of input consumed. And indeed, the input is not consumed, or the helium cell input is not consumed, and this produces helium here. So let's partition this. In fact, I'll set you to 999. I'll use the helium from that tank over there before this helium. But now we, practically speaking, have an infinite supply of helium, right? 1 bucket of each input is 500 buckets of helium. So 60, even if I no longer provide this machine with any more input, 64 buckets of each input is 32,000 buckets of helium. We'll need a lot of helium because I'm likely to use it in my fusion reactor down the road. Uh-oh, looks like there's another small hang-up for this blast furnace, the temperature. I was just about to place it right next to my other blast furnaces, but it's a 5,000 degree recipe, and I think tungsten steel only goes up to 4,500. Yeah, so we need the next tier coil. Well, we have 2 options. We can either just use superconductors, which are 9,001. Yeah, let's just do that actually. 10, 16. Unfortunately, this means I can't share coils with what I already had. Tin, rubber ring. Okay, these are recipes I can encode really quickly. But yeah, it means unfortunately I can't share coils with the tungsten steel ones. The other alternative then is to make something like high speed steel. I don't know which tier is the lowest. G? Yeah. But at that point, if I'm going to put in the work to make these coils, why don't I just make superconductors? I just realized extruders use all resources from the previous voltage tier. Like the HV extruder uses MV components, and this continues through all the extruder tiers. So like the IV extruder uses, the IV extruder uses IV components. Hold on. But the EV extruder uses HV components. Weird. Whatever. Just an interesting observation I had. Ooh, fancy superconducting blast furnace. So this is 9,001 degrees, which is comfortably more than 5,000, and this makes engraved crystal chips. Now these chips, we may as well just turn them all into engraved CPUs. However, this requires an IV laser engraver. So let's see about making one. Yikes, this recipe looks like it looks very shiny. All these components look nice. Alright, let's make one of those though. The materials for this laser engraver aren't even all that bad. I guess part of it is because I already have the processors pre-crafted for it. But, go. A couple of insane voltage transformers can take our EV or extreme voltage power, turn it into IV. So I have up to 2 amps of IV power available to me, and that goes to a laser, well, so far it only goes to a laser engraver. The lossless cable for IB is stellar alloy, which is pretty convenient. I can make tons of that. So let's just, I guess I have to connect that P2P bus. And our laser engraver should turn on. So let's connect it up. And we be engraving. So engraved crystal chips turned into crystal CPUs. Oh, I thought there'd be a quest for that. But now that I have crystal CPUs, I can set the stop condition on this blast furnace. Apparently, if I plug these transformers in and run that laser engraver, my ME system shuts off. Part of my problem is that I basically have an unbuffered power. I guess I could put batteries in here, but I have an unbuffered RF generator. So if ever my EU production falls short, it causes my RF production to also basically turn off, which causes my ME network to turn off. So that's a little bit less than spectacular. Yeah, I think the solution is to put, well, the fix to give me a bit of a buffer is to put batteries in here, but I also just need to make more power. So I guess let's add another, what is this, 4? Let's add another 2 diesel generators. 2 diesel generators can power 1 laser engraver with a little bit to spare. Because my energy system basically has no meaningful amounts of storage on it, I have to make sure that my generation not only meets average demand, which is what you have to do if you have an infinite energy buffer, but I have to actually be able to meet peak demand, which is incidentally much, much higher than average demand, especially when I have machines like the laser engraver here, which draw 7,000 EU a tick, but have rather low uptime. So yeah, having a sufficiently large energy buffer can make it so that you only have to meet average demand instead of peak demand. Now, that said, making an energy buffer isn't free either. So let's plug that in, watch these more or less turn on. The laser engraver here is still struggling. These are running, right? Oh, wait. I have to do more than just... Oh, is this the right cable? Dairy. Yeah, good. I have to actually plug them in. I can't just turn them on. Alright, so now you should be getting plenty of power. There we go. And now we're getting crystal CPUs once again, and our ME network is not crying. Whenever my network blinks out though, I have to go and double click each of these hot ingots because they're being supplied by a storage bus, right? And a storage bus won't take ingots out of storage. It just takes ingots that are already, as they come into the network, they get placed here. Whatever, not a big deal. All that's left now is to make a IV assembler so that we can craft the IV circuits natively. This will also give us access to the upgraded version of these circuits, which I believe is the first wetware equivalent board. There's some very cool things that require these crystal assemblies or wetware boards, I think. Yeah, so this is what I was looking for, the creative wireless crafting terminal. Once I have this, I don't need to worry about infinity boosters anymore. Convenient. Big moment of truth time. Encode the recipe, put it in our machine, and give it a go. So it is our, let's see, one of these assemblers, Ivy. Oh, soldering, alloy solder, whatever. Naming inconsistencies. I'm just doing a shadow of Greg here. Anyways, crystal processor. Ooh, that's a very shiny sun crystal. Crystal processor. Let's start with one. No, I haven't taught it how to actually make that wire. Hold on. I have plenty of ingots. I just have to teach it how to turn ingots into wires, and then wires into fine wire. Fine wire. And that goes in my wire mill. My wire mill now has, it's on its 3rd interface. Because, well, I guess there's a lot of wire tasks. Alright, let's try that again. Crystal processor. Ha, go. It's entirely possible that running this machine is more power than I can handle right now, because turning this machine on has a tendency to also turn this one on. Although that one was already running. Whatever. Now it looks like we survived. And one crystal processor. let's get it and complete the quest. Haha. Which should reward me 4 more. Nice. Alright, let's also, to wrap things up today, let's make that creative wireless crafting terminal. That's going to take 1 crystal assembly, so 2 crystal processors. Off it goes. Let's try this system out again. I need to make another energy cell, so let's see if I can remember how it works. Place those, and then it's throw a piece of redstone, if I recall. Not a piece of redstone. Yes, a piece of redstone. Just actually place the last cell first. There we go. Unfortunately, the crystal assembly quest, which gives you 4 more of these, is gated behind the LUV machine casing stuff. Womp womp. When withdrawing your infinity boosters, make sure you turn off auto-consume boosters. I very nearly, when I was withdrawing these, put them, if you have auto-consume on, it's like you put them into that slot. Anyways, I don't know if I could upgrade the crafting terminal I currently have or if I need to make a new one. But I need IV and polytetrafluoroethylene. Alright, let me make another IV assembler. It's been a while since I've manually crafted with an assembler. Let's put our polytetrafluoroethylene in. And before I put my crafting terminal in, I want to pull my magnet card out, just in case it, so I don't consume it. Alright, it's crafting. Ooh, this is our, is it our second creative item? The first one was the creative mill I made so long ago. Turns out that I didn't even need. Now that I have an angel ring though, I can use that creative mill. So that creative mill is not wasted. My instinct was to tick accelerate this. That would not have worked because I do not provide, or I do not generate enough power to tick accelerate this. Alright, well, almost done. 96, 99, 100. Aha, creative. Well, that's a quest. I wonder what that quest gives me. Another magnet card. Oh, well, so much for needing to save my previous one, huh? I guess it's there. Yeah, I still have to link it. They're assuming that I forgot to take my magnet card out before I upgraded it. Well, guess who didn't forget? This genius. Alright, let's link it. And nice. So the difference is the only meaningful difference I think of the creative is that it doesn't use power and it doesn't use infinity energy. But the side effect of not using infinity energy is that you can turn magnet card mode on anywhere. Normally you can only use magnet card mode within your wireless range. So now I can have this on and say I'm, let's go to the end or something, where I don't have any wireless access. But because I have infinity mode on here, I can mine, and anything I mine, I guess my infinity card's not configured yet. I want you blacklisting. There we go. Anything I mine here automatically. Apparently, vein miner doesn't work. That's a shame. Or is endstone just not a vein mineable resource? Let's try out this. Oh, I guess it's just not a vein mineable resource. But yeah, now these resources, instead of going into my inventory, go directly into the ME system, which is really convenient for, say, when I go mining on other planets, although that doesn't happen all that much anymore. But when I go work on other planets, I don't need to have stuff enter my inventory and then go from my inventory into the ME system. It's a small boon, but it also means I'm free to keep my terminal open 24/7, even when I'm not near my wireless, which I guess is convenient. Anyways, I think this episode has dragged on for quite a while. So let's wrap things up here. We're able to get to IV and do some really cool things. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.